Hello everyone, and welcome to Cribwolf Talks, coming to you from our studio in Burlington, Ontario. I'm Lino Fera, your host. From the very beginning, Cribwolf Talks has focused on issues that deeply affect quality of life, especially for people who are underserved, vulnerable, and too often overlooked. Tonight's conversation is both troubling and urgent. In early October 2025, a story reported by the CBC revealed that residents with special needs were relocated from their homes in Oakville, Ontario. A move that has raised serious questions about consent, dignity, and human rights. Joining me today is Rabia Khedr, National Director of Disability Without Poverty, a tireless advocate, a humanitarian, and award-winning activist. Rabia is here not just in her professional capacity, but also as a sister, speaking on behalf of her brother, a person with special needs, and for many others whose voices are rarely heard. This conversation goes beyond one incident. It challenges us to ask how we care for people with disabilities, how decisions are made, and who is truly being protected. This is Cribwolf Talks, and this conversation matters. Rabia, welcome to our show.
Thank you.
It's nice to have you here today, and I look forward to our discussion. You spent your entire life dedicated to equity and justice for persons with disabilities, women, and diverse communities. But your background is incredible. I just want to go over your background with my viewers. I mean, your resume and achievements are most impressive. You have sat on many boards and commissions. You're a motivational speaker. You're a documentary commentator, a recipient of numerous awards, including the Queen Elizabeth II Diamond Jubilee Medal, the Daniel G. Hill Rights Award, and the King Charles II Coronation Medal. Incredible achievement, Rabia. And from an academic point of view, I mean, I've been through the academic program with my degrees, but you have a master's degree from York University, a Bachelor of Arts degree from U of T, and you're sight impaired. You're a phenomenal person. And what I like most of you had time to set up the DEEN support services, your chief executive officer, and correct me if I'm not mistaken, DEEN stands for Disability, Employment, Equality, and Network. Phenomenal.
Can I correct that?
Okay, please, yes.
DEEN stands for Disability, Empowerment, Equality.
Empowerment, okay, very good, okay. Wonderful, and I want to know about that, but really, you're here to talk about your brother. Shaw is his name, right?
Yes.
And, 40 persons with disabilities were pulled from their homes, which was their home, without any consent, I understand, and relocated to the Bond Street residence where your brother is a resident. And the Bond Street residence is operated by Central West Specialized Developmental Services. I mean, there's been a lot of media about this type of thing, but were your families, let me ask you the first question, were you and the other families contacted by or were contacted about the proposed move?
Yes, we were, but we were contacted basically, what you could say is on the eve of the implementation of the move. So we were sort of given the heads up about a week before that there's trouble in paradise, right? That there's some union management issue going on, and that they are looking at a contingency plan. And then we were told, the Thursday before the week that they began moving people, that the contingency plan is to relocate people from our community homes to the main facility. A town hall was offered to families, 30-minute town hall on September 30th, and the moves were beginning on April the 1st. The town hall was offered on September the 30th in the afternoon, and the moves were beginning on October the 1st, the next day. The 30-minute town hall was, in fact, in my opinion, not a town hall because it was a one-way conversation. We were just told that they had this incredible plan, that they had worked really hard to ensure that they were taking the best possible precautions to ensure the health and well-being of the people that they support. Our questions were not entertained. We were told to just write in the questions. We really were not consulted as far as we're concerned. There was no real informed consent.
No consent at all.
No consent at all by
Required.
the individuals or families.
So let me understand this. So from what I've read, and correct me at any time, there were 40 individuals living in group homes, separate group homes, smaller group homes, managed by this not-for-profit agency, CWSDS. And it was sometime in September, I guess, or whatever. I understand from what I've read that there was going to be some labor disputes coming, or some labor issues, and they decided to move these individuals from their home and to this facility on Bond Street. And so we could talk about that further, but your brother was a resident at Bond Street. So they're recipient of all these individuals, this traffic of individuals that had to be moved for these labor issues or upcoming disputes with OPSU, the union, and the PSWs, I guess. And so your brother had been living at this location for some time, so that was his home. And he has now 5 new housemates, I think the last time we spoke. What has been the impact of this sudden arrival of these new housemates and the influx of all these individuals at this facility from your perspective?
Historically, we were all disconnected from each other. Families were not, especially since COVID, gathering in any way, connecting in any way. So I did not really know any of these other families who live out in the community. I think, and we've never gotten precise numbers of how many individuals were relocated. I think there were about 6 or 7 homes in the community, Burlington, Oakville, Mississauga, Halton Hills, that were relocated to the Bond main facility, which had 2 or 3 existing homes, including a larger geriatric home, which means older adults with intellectual disabilities. My brother lived with 5 other individuals, and I wasn't told that he's getting 5 more moving into the same home, a home that was suited for 6 males, now was home to 11 males, significantly increasing the amount of support staff coming and going, with or without the labor dispute. This was all done in anticipation of a labor dispute or a labor disruption, meaning either strike or lockout. And so this contingency plan was implemented the first couple of days of October in order to prepare for a potential strike. And an actual strike did not happen until, I believe, November the 19th. So 6 weeks in advance of the strike, people were moved to the main location, therefore heightening tensions, heightening challenges, and really uprooting and disrupting the lives of all individuals, those that were taken out of their homes and those that received uninvited guests.
So it's a very difficult situation. I mean, what I'm hearing is that the experience of you and the other family members, this was happening, collectively, or happening with individual movements, individuals being moved to the new home, while the other, like all the parents, all the family members of these other individuals didn't really know what was going on because there was no prior consultation, no prior discussion, no collaboration, whatever. So eventually, they all landed at this new facility in Bond Street for the reasons that I'm sure the agency has voiced, whatever. But this caused a protest. Okay, so I want to address this protest. There was a CBC report, and there was several, I think, that showed that there was a lot of dissatisfaction with the way it was handled. You were seen as a leader from my discussion with other parents. I believe also that there was a letter sent to the Premier of Ontario and Premier Ford, and this has not been resolved. There has been no response from him, or from the ministry. So, Rabia, with your background, your experience and all that, could this dispute process, without disrupting the residential homes and the quality of life of persons with disabilities and their families, have you determined that there could be, or come up with a kind of your own interpretation of how this could have been handled, rather than the way it was, without consent, without consultation, and all the trauma that came out of this?
Absolutely. It could have been handled much better, because what we're hearing is this contract issue had been looming since 2024. So it had been going on for a year. Why were we as families not brought into the conversation? Why were we not engaged early on to say, hey, this is going on, this is what's happening, we need to make sure that the people we support need to be protected and need to be supported in the way that they have been accustomed to in their homes. How can we make this work together? Here's what we're thinking. What do you guys think? Like, consultation, town halls are more substantive. They really are about building relationships and trust, not one-way communication dictating, here's what we're doing. Do you have any questions? Oh, but we're not going to let you ask them live. Just email them to us and we'll decide if we want to answer them or not. So honestly, I think it could have been done much better. I work in this space. I have established an organization. I support families. And the example I can give you is, the recent snowstorm. Monday, we have never shut down our programming because of a snowstorm before, or any inclement weather climate issue. Schools shut down. We have never shut down our program. This time, we reached out to families. We said, hey, the snow's really bad. What do you guys think? Are you going to be dropping off your individuals to the center? Are you going to be sending them by TransHelp to the center? And majority of the families, almost everyone, came back saying, no, we're not. It's really a bad snow day. The staff should really remain at home too. Everybody needs time to dig out. There's trust in everything that we do. So we decided, okay, staff will work from home and we will run an online program longer for the day to at least provide some touch point, some engagement, some familiarity to the people that we support during the day, rather than taking everything away from them and disrupting them for the day.
Yeah, routines are so important. I have a son with special needs, as we spoke about earlier, and I know what it means to change. Change doesn't come easy with someone with special needs. There's there has to be a lot of interaction with the family. There's routines that happen every day. And I don't know if this sudden move has caused more trauma in that area, both for the individual themselves with special needs and the families not having the exact same thing that happened at a smaller group home, or in the lifestyle that your brother had there before the numbers got larger, right? So I even spoke to one family, I don't remember the person's name, but they mentioned that even the rooms that were there were utility rooms, were converted. So it's a very chaotic scenario. I'm thinking, so it's But where do we go from here, though? Where do you think we go from here? What is the path forward?
What I'm really disappointed in is that this is going on in 2025, 2026, and nobody gives a damn. It's a system that's overruled people's trust, independence, rights, and many, I mean, I'm a sibling. My situation is a little removed than a parent. Aging parents have entrusted their children to this agency. And, you know, the intention is that that trust carries forward once they pass away in reality. They're expecting their children to outlive them. That trust has been significantly breached. It's been eroded. That relationship has been ripped apart with this agency. And there needs to be work done to repair the relationship. There needs to be work done to repair the system, because this is a system that has made that presumption that it knows best, that the system has more power over the individual. This really stinks of reinstitutionalization, whether intended or not, right? Whether intended or not, we have rewound the clock on Bond Street back to institutionalization, the way things used to be at the Oakland's Regional Center. CWSDS keeps talking about celebrating 50 years. No, it's not celebrating 50 years, because many of those years were institutional years, and Ontario deinstitutionalized. And CWSDS was rebranded and reformed as a community-based agency, hence having those homes in the community. And now there are locks on those homes, and people are warehoused into the main property, which has an ugly history of being an institution. So where do we go from here? I think we need to do a lot of reflection in terms of the government and its role, in terms of advocacy organizations that are well funded in the sector to voice for these individuals who can't voice for themselves and are not voicing anything, are silently watching what's happening and waiting to see how it plays out. On part of labor and where labor stands when it comes to accessibility and inclusion and the rights of people with disabilities, disability justice, because in this case, the union's needs are trumping the needs of people with disabilities. The management's needs are trumping the needs of people with disabilities. And all because of what? Dollar signs. Dollar signs that the ministry is obligated to provide. So there are three players exercising their power over our society's most vulnerable members. It's really a time to pause and take stock of where we are at and what's happening to our values and our commitment to protect our society's most vulnerable members.
Well, you know, your being here, Rabia, is wonderful, because parents, you know, caring for individuals with special needs are usually the silent minority. You know, their loved ones are underserviced. There's, as you indicated, this problem is larger than just CWSDS. There's the federal government and provincial government. There has to be a collaboration. We hear about funding issues, and the dollars get smaller and smaller, and yet the numbers are growing. The people are aging, and we as parents always want to have a smooth transition from the home, where they've been accustomed to love, embracing, care, to, as you indicated, an organization that inherits a trust factor and that can continue well beyond our passing. So I want to compliment you for the work you do. There's no greater accolades than having to speak for these individuals, and not everybody can speak clearly and voice the true opinion. No, perhaps a lot of parents are frustrated. When I wrote my book, The Waiting Game, you mentioned waiting. We wait for things to happen. We wait for things to change, and it just seems to get worse and worse. We need to have more collaboration, more talks, more open discussions, consultation, and be involved in the decisions that are being done. So, again, thank you for being here. But before I leave you, I want to ask you one thing. What is the one overarching message that you'd like to leave our viewers?
Care about people with intellectual disabilities, because I'm sure you know someone, you love someone, you're a neighbor or a friend to someone who either has a child with an intellectual disability or has an intellectual disability themselves. This should concern every one of us. And an intellectual disability, not to belittle anything, try to place yourself in that situation. What if you had an accident or a head injury, or as you age, you acquire dementia or Alzheimer's? The rights that you ensure for these individuals are the rights that you will enjoy at some point in time and appreciate that you work to preserve. I'm deeply concerned about the power imbalance between a system and the people it serves. There needs to be a sharing of power to ensure quality care. It's not just about caring for people. It's really about caring about them, actually giving a damn about them. There's been so much change at this agency that I don't believe that this agency even knows the names of the individuals that they're supporting and impacting.
Wow. Well, thank you for those comments. And again, I hope that this problem will have the right resolution that benefits all those individuals, and their needs, which are so important, right? To have choice and the quality of life that they deserve. And for you, continued success with DEEN as well. Okay, we need you to
Thank you.
to represent more and more people that are living in our community that are vulnerable and are the silent minority. So thank you very much. I want to reach out to you and shake your hand.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Thank you for being on our program.
Here I am on Parliament Hill today, having been spending time meeting with our parliamentarians, elected officials. Regardless of the politics, we are committed to working with everyone to ensure that we better the benefit. We are here to send a message that $200 a month just isn't enough for disabled people in this country. That in fact, we need to work together federally and provincially to ensure there are no clawbacks, to ensure that disabled people who need the benefit to lift them out of poverty get the amount they need and can access it without jumping through hoops again and again, having to prove their disability. We're asking government to cut red tape and foster greater federal provincial cooperation, ensuring no clawbacks and ease of access. Canadians with disabilities living in poverty need this money, and they need this money now. It's a matter of their well-being, about their quality of life, about their health. It's in fact a matter of doing right by Canadians with disabilities in this country. For a country of plenty, there's no place for disability poverty. People with disabilities have endless possibilities of contributions to make, and they are ready to make them if we just give them the money they need to purchase what they need to thrive.
Thank you for watching Cribwolf Talks. I want to thank Rabia Khedr for her honesty, her advocacy, and for bringing both personal experience and national perspective to this discussion. At the heart of this program is a simple belief that every person, regardless of ability, deserves a safe home, real choice, dignity, opportunity, and a true sense of belonging. Housing is not a privilege. Living in a community of one's choice is a human right. Families should not have to fight to be heard, and people with special needs should never be treated as an afterthought in systems meant to support them. By sharing these stories, we're calling for action, not silence. This demands accountability from decision makers, real collaboration between families, service providers, and government, and the courage to put people before systems. People with special needs must not be displaced, dismissed, or forgotten, but supported to live with dignity, stability, and real choice in the homes and communities they call their own. I'm Lino Fera, and this has been Cribwolf Talks. Thank you for watching, and as always, stay well.